welcome to GenFriends. I'm your host, Sherry Hudson Passey from Carolina Girl Genealogy, and I've got this fabulous panel with me tonight. We've got Mary Kircher Roddy from MKR Genealogy and from Applied Genealogy Institute. Mary's actually going to lead us in a discussion in just a few minutes. So thank you, Mary, for being here. I'm so glad to see you.
Nice to be here.
Oh, you've got Melissa Barker, our archive lady. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, everybody.
And of course, you guys all know that Melissa's got a blog, and her blog is a genealogist in the archives, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So make sure. And the links to where everybody is are always on the YouTube, underneath the YouTube description and on the blog post. So go to that and check everybody out, because these are some pretty smart ladies. And Dan, when he shows up, he's pretty smart.
Smart ladies and Dan.
Yeah, smart ladies and Dan, exactly. He's supposed to be heading here, but I don't know, he's with family tonight, so he's just been having some issues up and on with us. Jenny Hawran here. Hello.
Hi. Nice to
How
see
are
everyone.
you?
Good.
Like herding cats, genealogy, fabulous. Love it. Glad you're here. And you know what? Bernice Bennett. Bernice, 2 weeks in a row. We're so glad you're back with GenFriends, Genealogists.
Hello, everyone.
And check her website out too, because she's got some great books out. She's doing series on African American homesteaders, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful series of books that she's doing. So make sure you go and check out the links and go to everybody's sites and see what everybody's up to. What we're up to tonight is AI, artificial intelligence. We're hearing that everywhere. And we're hearing that in the genealogy community. There are Facebook groups. There's all sorts of different things going on about, is it good? Is it bad? Is it going to hurt us as genealogists? Is it going to make everything untrue? Are we going to be plagiarizing everything? You hear all this stuff. Is it going to take away our jobs as genealogists? Well, I know Mary has been really looking into AI. She's recently taken a course on it. And so we thought, Mary, come tell us all about AI and some basics and what we need to do to start learning how to use it. So I'll turn it over to you, Mary.
Thank you. Okay. And Sherry said a discussion. So we're going to discuss.
We're going to discuss.
Not just me. It's,
yes.
Yes. This isn't.
But you've got to get it started.
Formal presentation. So I will just kind of go through some things.
Yes.
The first off, and do I have permission to share?
If not, we'll give it
I do.
to you.
I do.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay. So I'm sorry. I work with 3 screens, so I'm going to try to just drag stuff to the screen that I'm going to be.
Oh, you're so bragging. 3 screens. That's
no.
I always end up doing that, and it sounds good, but then when it's time to share or move it over my cursor, I can't find it.
Hopefully
That's usually what happens.
you do see empowering genealogists with it. Okay. Yep. So this is the course I took. And NGS has created this course with Steve Little. Steve Little did an NGS presentation that is available on YouTube, and Sherry will have to get you the link, and you can put that in.
Right.
That's like an hour-long presentation, and it will really kind of give you a really good introduction to AI. So they did that. I think it was in September, and then NGS announced that there would be a course, a 4-week course. And so they had a couple of sessions of it, and they recorded those sessions, and you can buy the recordings. I think you can still purchase this recorded course. It says that. So if you're interested, go to NGSgenealogy.org. I really highly recommend it. Steve is just fabulous, and he really knows his stuff.
Yes, and he's now he's like the official AI guy for NGS now. They've kind of locked him in.
Yeah. And so it kind of goes through and tells you what's happening in each of the sessions of this. So you can kind of see what is covered. But anyway, so that's one good way to learn about how to use AI for genealogy. And so what you're going to hear tonight is some of the things that I took away from that course. and experiments that I did with that. Okay. Another thing was this. There is a Facebook group, and I'm sorry, it looks like a 5-year-old has been at it. Because this is and hopefully I've covered everything that shouldn't be seen.
Yeah, it's like, because you gotta, those are all living people.
Right. Blaine Bettinger has started this group, and it's called Genealogy and Artificial Intelligence. It is a private Facebook group. Only members can see what's in the group and who's in the group and what they post, but it is a visible group, so anybody can find this group. So if you are interested, I wanted to put this out there so you could search for this and then request to join. But I needed to cover up the people who you could see their little thumbnail or little pictures, and somebody who posted something. So that's why it looks again like I scribbled all over it, because I did scribble all over it. But this would be another way. And if you join this group, you'll just get see on your Facebook feed different things that people are doing with it. And so you'll learn from that as well. Because really there's a lot of people that are just out there experimenting. Hey, I learned how to do this, and hey, I learned how to do that, or I'm having a problem with this and it's not working for me. Does anybody have any ideas? So that is another really good way to learn more about AI. Okay, so I'm going to stop share for a few minutes and just go through it if I can find my notes. And I got 3 screens because I'm an editor and I needed to be able to look at my document that I'm editing. I needed to look at the source part of the document, and then I needed to be able to go to the internet and actually look at the sources.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was struggling with 2, so I got 3, and now it's just a matter of juggling 3.
And finding your cursor.
Yes. I'm constantly going like this. Okay.
Yes.
A couple of things to know before you start using it. And I used it, at first, like Google. You just ask it a question and it gives you an answer. And what happens when you do that is you get wrong information. And then you say, oh, this thing is garbage. I'm not going to use it. It is not a search engine. And I can't stress that enough. And it's, kind of think about a toolbox. Yes, you could use a wrench to pound a nail into the wall or the heel of your shoe. But, if you use the heel of your shoe to pound the nail in, you might get dirt from the walk that you took on your wall. And and that's kind of what this is. So find the right tool for the job. If you want
So Mary, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Where do people usually go to start? Like I started with ChatGPT.
Yes.
I mean, because that's what I was hearing everything about was ChatGPT. And then I actually did a video for Legacy on it because I needed to learn how to do it. And they said, will you do a beginner's? I said, yeah, because I got to learn. So that's really the only AI I've used is ChatGPT.
Yeah, there are other ones. ChatGPT is the most famous one, and that's the most prominent. That's the one I primarily use.
Okay.
It has the most bells and whistles, I guess. There are some, I think Claude is one that will take more data. You can give it more data at one time. There's a limitation on how much this AI can process at any given time. And I'll kind of talk a little bit more about that. But some of them have more processing capacity than others. But some of them do different things. Now, there is a free version. I think it's ChatGPT 3, and you can use that for free. And then there's ChatGPT 4, which is $20 a month. You can do a lot more with ChatGPT 4. And so it will save you time. And this is kind of, again, one of the things that Steve Little says is if you can figure out a way to get some of those tasks that you have to do over and over and over again, get ChatGPT to do that for you, you're going to get save 10 minutes here. I don't have to do that, and 20 minutes here. And, I mean, if you're a professional genealogist at, $50 an hour or $100 an hour or whatever you
Right.
charge, $20 a month is
Yeah,
some
just
number
time that's
of
nothing, yeah.
minutes per month.
Right.
That so anyway, so you can subscribe for it, and it will be able to do more things. And I can't tell
Okay.
you exactly what more it does, because that's the one I'm using. So I don't know what I can't do on ChatGPT 3, because I just go to ChatGPT 4. And so anyway, so pick the right tool. If you really want to search for something, use Google or Bing or DuckDuckGo or whatever your search engine of choice is. What ChatGPT is it's called a large language model, and it really can process information, from language, I guess. And so it's really good at language. There's also pictures, and you may have seen a ton of people creating AI
Yes.
pictures. And
Yes,
we'll
and I'm like,
talk a
oh, I
little
don't
bit
have time for
too.
that.
Yeah.
I love that people are doing that. I'm like, I don't have time for that. I'm supposed to be doing genealogy work.
Is that
I know.
only for the paid version that you can do that?
I think it is only on
Yeah.
the paid version.
That's really cool. I'm liking what I'm
It
Yeah.
seeing.
is cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so many people were like creating all these Halloween decorations, and I'm thinking, okay, that's cool, but
That's nice,
you're
but I need to
spending a lot
research.
of time. I have things I need to do, and I don't
Yeah.
have time to play with that. So, but there's people that they're just eating that up, and so I'll talk a little bit about that too, in how to use the art stuff. But ChatGPT can read things amazingly quickly and pull data out of stuff. So you
Mary,
can
can
use
I
it.
ask?
Yeah.
Can I ask the Chat GPT where? Okay, this is gonna be now if it's a dumb question, and I don't think there's any dumb questions. But where does it get its information? Is it like a search engine? Is it like something like that, but not exactly?
It has been fed a canon of literature. And I don't know everything that's gone into it.
Okay.
There are genealogists who have discovered that their books, I think Maureen Taylor, one of her books has been put in there, and I'm not going to go into judgment or ethics about this. There are
I think it's too new. It's so new
about
that.
Yeah.
But the creators of ChatGPT grabbed pieces of text from wherever, and it might have been Shakespearean text, it might have been ancient Greek.
Google Books. It could go to Google Books, maybe, who knows?
Right. All sorts of things are in it, and I don't know how much information. So it and what it does is it figures out when it's writing something, it tries to figure out what is the next word that should go after this phrase. And so then it kind of, and then the next one and the next one. So then it kind of creates it a piece of text for you based on that. If you ask it to work as a search engine, it won't be accurate. When it first came out, I asked it to tell me about the history of the Catholic Church in Blair County, Pennsylvania. And it could give me some information. The dates were wrong. The names of the churches and it had the names of some of the churches that were there, but was putting them in the wrong cities. So it's kind of partially right, but it's not right. So that's why a tool like Google could give you better information.
It's fun to tell it tell it to tell you about yourself too, and throw your name in there. Man, you become really smart and really famous and do lots of things that you've never done, according to ChatGPT.
Yeah, I think my friend Jill Morelli is like a fellow of the Society of American Genealogists, which she's not, but ChatGPT said she was. So yeah, it hallucinates. It makes stuff up.
Well, I think that, and I know you have a lot more to tell us, but I just feel like that for me, I've used ChatGPT a little, and for what I used it for, it was helpful. But I think it's going to be like anything else, and all of us on this panel have lived long enough to have seen, DNA come on the scene, to have seen other things in the genealogical realm come on the scene, and we were probably all, I don't know, I don't embrace new things as much as other people do. I kind of the type that I sit back and I watch. DNA came out when I was going to school to be an archivist, so I missed that boat, and I just never been able to get on that boat. And so with AI, I'm just watching, because I know Tom McKenty always talks about he's not a first generation person. He doesn't get the, the first generation iPhone. He doesn't do this.
Yeah.
So I kind of took a little bit from him on that. And so I watch. And so far, I can see some benefits, but it's like it really I think it's gonna evolve, and it's gonna revamp itself over and over and over, and so I'm interested to see what's gonna happen. But in the genealogy community, I can see where it can be a help, but I can also see where it can really be a hindrance.
Well, I will show you how I have used it and how it might save you some time.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of things that I've used it for. Some of you may know out there in the audience, I am one of the editors of the National Genealogical Society Quarterly. And we have started something called the I Read the Q quiz. And it's to try to get people to read the Q, because you can really learn a lot from the Q. So, but I want to make it fun. I do genealogy because it was fun. It is fun.
Yeah.
And that is 100% the reason I do it. I get such an endorphin rush from having, from doing genealogy. I just do it because it's fun. And I want other people to have fun too. So we created this quiz, and I've got, a 6,000 word article or something that I have edited. And I could read that article and try to pull out some questions for the quiz. What I did is I took that article and I uploaded it to ChatGPT, and I said, give me a 10-question quiz on the information, the material in this article.
Cool.
And it gave me 10 questions. And so, and I had 2 articles. My co-editor Margaret had 2 articles. So we took 3 from each of those, and then ran the book reviews through as well, and took 1 from the book reviews, and came up with a 13-question quiz. And I think we'll do that again this time. So it was way quicker for me to get ChatGPT to read the article and give me 10 questions, and then I could select the 3 I wanted. That said, I gave it the information. And one of the answers it gave me back was incorrect. It used data that wasn't, it used something that wasn't even mentioned in that artitle as the answer. So do not.
So we still need to use our brains. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Our best AI is our brains.
Exactly.
It's not a set it and forget it. You have to pay attention. Right. So be warned with that. I have another thing I've used it for. We have a wonderful group of peer reviewers at NGSQ who read all of the submissions for us. And they are experts in Pennsylvania research or DNA or Dutch research or whatever it might be. And I know some things about some things, but I don't know everything about everything. And so
I'm shocked.
They're wonderful. And so, but we have a blind peer review process. It's actually a double blind. So the author doesn't know who the reviewer is, and the reviewer doesn't know who the author is. And we really want to keep it that way, so we cannot publicly acknowledge our peer reviewers. But I want to write them thank you notes, and I was trying to think, what am I going to say in this thank you note? And I actually asked ChatGPT, could you give me some ideas for a thank you note to a peer reviewer? And it was interesting with that command, or that request. It gave me a response that looked like it was an author thanking the peer reviewer. It's like, well, that's not what I wanted.
Right.
So I had to say, refine it and say, okay, that an editor would write to a peer reviewer for help with the journal. And so I got, I don't know, 5 or 6 paragraphs, whatever it was. I pulled out ideas, I reworded it. It is my thank you note. I believe it's my thank you note, but to give some ideas of what to include.
Yes.
And so that was helpful, a time saver for me.
Sure.
And so, it's good for things like that. If you need to write something, maybe you want an outline for I want to write an article on newspaper research, or give a presentation on newspaper research, or whatever it might be. And you know what you want to do, but you can ask for, give me an outline for an hour-long lecture. And it will give you some ideas. Another thing I did, I have written an article that will be in the NGS magazine that's coming out next month. And it's on finding living people. And so I'm going to be teaching a course for Applied Genealogy Institute. And so this article really is kind of like one article that pretty much is going to be a lot of what I'm covering in the course. So I said, I fed it that bit of data, take this text and give me an 8-session outline for a course.
Oh, nice.
I didn't just use it whole hog, but it gave me a basis to work with. You don't have to look at a blank page anymore. You can get something on the page, move it around, add to it, subtract from it. But that's the kind of ways that it can really save you. So those are some of the ways that I have used it. A couple things I want to tell you about ChatGPT. It really reminds me of a 5-year-old. Or a 6-year-old. I have a 6-year-old granddaughter. Think about your 5-year-old child or grandchild. Little kids can't handle too many instructions at one time. You can't tell a little kid, go out in the living room and fluff all the couch cushions and pick up all the Lego off the floor. And
whatever. One thing at a time. One thing at a time. Yeah.
Another thing, and I don't really know why, but I have experienced it, and Steve Little again has talked about, it doesn't handle the negative ideas, like no, like your 5-year-old doesn't want to hear no. So you don't ever say to your child, do you want to wear this outfit?
No, you have to. No, that's right.
You say, do you want to wear this one or this one?
Or this one, exactly.
So you got to figure out how to word things so you're not saying don't do this or no, don't give me, but figure out a positive way, and I will demonstrate that in one of the examples that I'm going to show. And then the other thing that you will get is when you're working with AI, look at, you give it an instruction, it will give you something back, and it's like, well, I didn't got some of the stuff I wanted, but not quite everything. So what is it not giving me that I want? And how can I add that bit to the instructions to make sure I get that?
Gotcha.
So we'll go through some, just a few examples of some things that it can do, and probably not all of you want to be able to do all of these things, but I'll just show you a few examples of possible things that you might have it do. So let's see. All right, so I have kind of a long article, and we'll show it to you in just a sec here. I want to pull that up. I should have put everything in one folder and I didn't. So
while you're getting that up, I was gonna say I was trying to show what ChatGPT could do, and I told it to give me some information on one of my ancestors, and it came back and told me he wasn't a real person.
Oh,
It's like, yes, he was, but like you said, I had to feed it some more information because he's famous, but only in South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, it told me he wasn't a real person. I was very depressed that he told me my ancestor wasn't a real person.
Well, that begs another question though, too, as users, let's just call them users, whoever's using ChatGPT is feeding ChatGPT information. Now, I wonder if, let's say, Bernice goes in and ChatGPT and asks now the same question about your ancestor, if she would get something different because you've already fed it that information.
Yeah, most likely, yes.
So that's interesting because that means it's going to grow and it's going to develop as more people give it more information, I think.
Right.
And there is a way to turn off the ability of ChatGPT to hang on to that data that you have given, which is something that you may want to do.
So if it's your own private information, you don't want the world to get it. Yeah.
So when I did that thing with the NGSQ quiz, I'm not leaving that article up there. I put it up there. I got what I wanted, and then it's not in their system. So
I wonder how many people know that they can do that though, or that they should do that. Saying?
Yeah, no, you're probably right. Okay, so do you see an article?
It's coming. There it is. It's coming. There it is.
Okay. So this is, I don't know what, 10-paragraph article about my great grandparents' golden wedding anniversary in 1931. And it talks, little introduction and then a little bit of the history of these people, where they got married, where they came from. And then the golden wedding was celebrated by a family dinner given Monday, and it names the people in it who was there, and identifies guests present were, and it gives a list of names. There were daughters and their husbands, sons and their wives, grandchildren present were, and it gives a list of grandchildren. So I could read this article, and I could pull out the data, but I could also put this into ChatGPT, which is what I did. And I said,
you mean you uploaded it?
I uploaded the article. Okay. I uploaded the picture of the article.
Okay.
And I said, and one of the things that Steve says is you should introduce the AI bot to what you expect them to be doing and what skills you expect them to have. And you can use that if you have a very technical article, you could say, put this summarize this article for a sophomore in high school level.
Okay.
Or a 5th grade level. And so it will use language and kind of distill the information in different ways depending upon what you tell it. So here I said, you're an expert genealogist. Please extract the names from this article and then identify the relationships to Mr. and Mrs. Thomas G. Bradley.
Oh, wow.
And so here's ChatGPT's response. Here's a list of names and their relationships to Mr. and Mrs. Thomas G. Bradley. Okay, this is Mrs. Bradley or Mrs. Thomas G. Bradley, wife of Thomas G. Bradley, Mary Ahern. This is Mrs. Bradley before her marriage, her maiden name being Ahern. Another mention of Mrs. Bradley with her full name. Miss Miriam Bradley, their daughter. Now this part, Mary, Charles Jr., Barbara Catherine, Thomas Jr., Elizabeth, and Patricia. There is no Elizabeth mentioned in this article. Not anywhere.
Okay.
So
I
it's
don't know who
cool.
Elizabeth
You just
is.
got to make sure it's right.
Charles is indeed the junior. Thomas, my dad, is not a junior, but he does have a
Oh.
younger brother, John. So it might be that somehow, and I think
Yeah.
it's perfectly legible when I look at it, but so it messed that up.
Mhm.
And it says these are their grandchildren, but the article doesn't specify which children belong with which of the grandchildren, which is
Yes.
good. I mean, that it tells me
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then it misread some names here. And it says these are likely their children, but the specific, their children-in-law, but the specific parent-child relationships are not stated for each. This is a great-grandchild of Mr. and Mrs. Bradley. There's no person mentioned by this name either in the article. And so, and it tells me the relationships are inferred based on typical family structure and the context provided by the article, which suggests a multi-generational celebration involving children, grandchildren, and a great-grandchild. So it's gotten some of the things right. It's pulled it out. I'm not going to take this one to the bank. But you know, it maybe gets you a little further along in figuring out what's going on in a particular thing. So then I'll tell you where I
before
went.
you go to the next
Go ahead.
thing, you know, as genealogists, one of the things that we're taught, and I think we're all taught this, is that we transcribe our records, because transcribing our records, it's the fingers in the mind thing that it kind of gets into, you know what I mean?
Right.
For me, and also because transcribing, we don't miss any information if we transcribe the entire record. If we allow AI to do it, are we missing this connection?
And there certainly is a case to be made for that. And
I'm not knocking it. I'm just asking that question.
No. And I agree with you in great part. But you have to decide, do I want to only research 10 of my ancestors because that's all the time I have? Or if I get some bot to transcribe it for me, maybe I could get more information on a larger number of ancestors. It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
Then you still have to, but then you still have to read through,
go back
because
and look.
like you said,
Right.
Yeah. So are
Right.
you really saving as much time as you think you are? You know, that's, I'm just, it's questions to ask and something to look at, you know.
It's a really a valid point. And I on newspapers that you can actually get the transcription, the OCR transcription, and I will give an example of that here also. You can get the OCR transcription, and I don't remember as well just reading an article as I do if I type the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so in 6 months, when I'm doing research in a deed book, I'm probably going to find more things in it if I've typed the article in myself.
Yeah.
But okay, so, and then I go back to that same article and asked it. Now I've asked it to extract the relationships. Now I'm asking it to give me a summary of this. Summarize the information about the life of Mary Ahern Bradley in the attached article. Let's see. Mary's life before her marriage involved a journey to California with her brother, during which she had the experience of traveling by covered wagon, indicative of a pioneer spirit. She married Mr. Bradley in Pennsylvania, his native state. Okay, well, those two things are wrong. She came over the Isthmus of Panama, and it clearly states that in this article. No covered wagon involved. And she actually married.
No pioneer spirit for her.
It was a bit of a pioneer spirit because she came pretty early, but it wasn't a covered wagon pioneer spirit. And then she married Mr. Bradley, not in Pennsylvania. He came from Pennsylvania, that's true, but she married him in Petaluma, California. So again, you want to read it. So, okay, I then said, you got some details wrong. Please try again. And you can do that with AI, and it will give you a different summarization. This one says she came to California from Pennsylvania with her brother after an arduous journey, which included a covered wagon experience. You know, it did say some nice things on this one. They raised a large family. At the time of their 50th anniversary, they were surrounded by children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Cats walking across the screen. So a testament to their enduring legacy. The Golden Wedding celebration was a significant community event indicating the respect and affection the Bradleys commanded in the community. So it did, you know, pull out those kind of that flavor. All right. So then I said, please try again. Mary and her brother came from New Jersey. They traveled over the Isthmus of Panama. The article does not mention a covered wagon experience. And so then it redid it and didn't put that stuff. This journey highlighted her adventurous spirit in the days before the Panama Canal, when such a trip would have been both challenging and dangerous. So anyway, you can ask it to redo it, please, and get different information. And so you should, you know, whatever you're doing, if you're asking it for that outline, say, okay, give me another outline, give me another outline. I got an article I want to write. Here's the text of it. Give me some suggestions for titles, and it will give you a dozen titles for that
So
article.
I could see that being very beneficial.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have a block and you just can't come up with a good title.
Right.
So yeah, I could see that would be a good one.
Okay. So, let's see. Then what else? Does anybody else want to pop in and say something here?
Well, I was going to say, you know, two of the ways that I've used it, and I have not used it a lot, is one, I wrote a very short family booklet. It was just on a couple of ancestors, and it was about 30 pages. So I used ChatGPT to create an index. I told it to create an index and page numbers. And I was very impressed. I mean, I obviously went back and checked it all, and that was a huge time saver for me. And this was just a short little book, so I can see how that could be very helpful in a situation like that. The other way that I used it is my day job is in public television, and we have a summer camp for kids, and we teach them filmmaking and TV production and things like that. And these kids are all over this technology. And so one of our goals always is to teach them media literacy and how to use tools like this responsibly. And so during these are 10 to 12 year olds. And one of the things we did was, you know, we had the whole chat about, copyright and doing your own work and the whole thing ahead of time. But we said, okay, we're going to write a film. We're going to write a script, and you guys shout out some ideas, and we're going to feed it to ChatGPT, you know, the who, what, where, come up with a situation. And so we did that, and they were so into it. They were so, you know, into it. And then we had a basic outline, and you had mentioned, Mary, like, you know, doing an outline for something is like really helpful when you just kind of just need that little bit of a structure. It was really helpful. We made them go, they each had a section, we broke it up, and they each had to write their own dialogue, you know, but it really got them excited to kind of do the work, because these kids, you know, in this specific case that I'm talking about, you know, these kids are used to like instant YouTube, you know, their phones and everything. And so we said, no, you know, this is a tool. This is another tool. So I'm kind of like Melissa, and then I'm kind of sitting back saying, well, let's see how this goes. And we just had an opportunity this summer, and I would say I'm pretty impressed at some of the possibilities if it's used responsibly, you know, which I know that's a big discussion going on right now everywhere.
Right.
So yeah, those are my 2 cents.
Okay. Yeah. And that's cool that you're able to do that with the kids, and you know, as kids are, they are the early adopters of things and
Right.
the
You
whole
can't
digital
fight it.
world. And
You can't fight it. Exactly.
and
Exactly. They're gonna be
they will
using
be
it.
living with whatever AI is
Exactly.
long after I'm gone.
Now, Mary, I know
So-
you can use it to do things too, like make timelines and, those kind of things to shorten up. It's, just copy and paste from, I've done that. You just copy and paste from where you've got data and just tell it to make a timeline and boom, it makes a timeline for you, instead of you.
Yeah.
So things like that are really cool and time savers as well. Or ask it to help you with a research plan. I'm looking for this kind of information about this person in this area location, and it can make a research plan for you. And I know that'll probably get better and better as more people are doing that type of thing and feeding it more information. So the ChatGPT we know now is probably going to be totally different.
Like DNA, the more people that tested, the more the
right.
DNA, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I would be interested to hear, and I mean, we're all, I think, on the panel authors of some point, but I would love to hear Bernice. She is a very well-respected author. What do you think about AI ChatGPT?
I haven't tried it yet. I'm waiting. I'm waiting before I even invest my time, because I don't have time to go back and correct all the mistakes. I just don't. And so I want to give it a chance to kind of mature a little before I really delve into it.
Yeah.
But I think, just what I've heard, it would be definitely helpful with a title, with your table of contents and outline. I mean, those things I think would be helpful and would save time if I don't have to turn around and spend time correcting everything.
Well, Mary, you took the class. And I know you enjoyed the class that you took. So you saw a lot of benefit for genealogists.
Yeah, and I want to show you a real practical example that I did. And so this is one more thing that I do. Any of you do Pennsylvania research?
Don't.
Okay,
but that's okay.
So I have people in Pennsylvania, and they, for probate work, use a proceedings index. And so it tells you my cats are fascinated by the Kircher.
Mary's got new kittens.
I wish you could see them. Okay, so this like here's a guardian appointment for George Siebert. And here's another guardian appointment for Gertrude Siebert. There's the probate here for George W. Siebert. So there are people that I am interested in on this page. And I was going to have to hire a researcher to go to the courthouse in Blair County, Pennsylvania. I'm interested in this George Siebert who got the guardian, and he has siblings. This is kind of the last name beginning with S and the first name beginning with G. We got George and Gertrude, his sister Mary and his brother John, or whatever. So they're on different pages. And I wanted to be able to make a list of documents that I wanted this researcher to go to find.
Move the cats out of the way.
Yes. Okay, there goes Whitney. Well, hope Catalina will behave herself. I wish I could get this bigger, and I'm not sure why I can't get it bigger, but so it goes to the Orphans Court docket, and it's a volume number and a page number and an item number and then the year that happened. And what I wanted to do was extract the data that I wanted and then be able to sort it by volume and page, and then just give that list to the researcher, save time. And I could have typed the blocks that I wanted. I wanted this one and this one and this one and this one, this one, this one, and then stuff on other pages. But I asked it to create And I said, my command was, you're an expert genealogist. Your goal is to extract structured data from a Blair County proceedings index. Attach the index, prioritize fidelity to the information. That means we want it just what it says. Avoid editorialization. Process the index box by box from beginning to end. Extract the index for this structured data. I want the block number, the name, persons, and entities, the proceeding, whatever it is, the docket, volume, page number, year. Give it to me in a CSV file, and this is the header row that I want. So I'm telling it,
wow,
basically make it into so I can put this into a spreadsheet. And so it did give me that. Here we got block number 1, George Sherber. It's a guardian appointment. OC for Orphans Court, volume 4, number 176, 1864. And it went through all the items for block 1, George Shermer. And then block 2, 3, 4, and so forth, all the way to block 10 here. But I noticed that I was getting more errors as it was going on. And that's what I was saying, like a 5-year-old. It made more mistakes at the end than at the beginning. So I was kind of analyzing what was happening here. I also noticed that it gave me, and maybe you can see it a little bit better. I took that and I put it into a spreadsheet. And I'm not going to go into how to do that, but it wasn't very hard to get that ChatGPT information into the spreadsheet. But like here, Orphans Court, this docket thing, it gives me CC, it gives me M. There is no M on any of those things. And, it didn't do that really. It got it better at the beginning. But then as it goes along, it seemed to get worse. It was giving me more mistakes. So then I went, and you can ask it to tell you, it gave me a little limerick. In Blair County's ledgers we find, name and dates all intertwined. Genealogy quest has begun, unlocking the past one by one. Let me know if there's more to unwind. He had us doing silly things with it. It was quite fun. Okay, so then the next thing I did, well, I won't go through everything that I did, but I said,
you kept refining it.
I kept refining it. And I said, for the volume, it can only be OC, AC, or P or whatever.
Okay.
For the volume number, it can be a 2 or 3 digit number or an alphabetical character.
Yeah.
For the year, it's going to be a 4-digit number beginning with either 18 or 19.
So in other words, you told it to quit making things up as it went along.
Right. Because I could see what it was doing. It's like, okay, I don't want it to do that anymore. So I'm going to constrain it. And so that's kind of what you want to do, is just to constrain it. And then eventually, when I was trying to do it a whole page at a time, it got to be a problem. So I said, do it one block at a time.
Okay.
Much better just doing it one block at a time. And it took me a little bit more to do that, but not that much. I mean, I just type in, okay, now they do the same thing for block 8. Now do the same thing for block 9. So, and then I would take that data.
Yeah, that's a lot of data if you had to do that all by yourself on that,
Yeah, and it probably, on the day that I did it, I probably would have spent less time doing it just myself, looking at it and typing the blocks out. But now I have this. So if I ever want to do it again, I can do it like that. I don't have to type it. I can give it another block from a different book.
Right. You've already figured out how to tell it to do it.
Command right, then done for me. So it's the kind of thing where you put in a little time up front to refine what you want it to do.
Tell it,
that over
teach
and over
it,
and over
teach
again.
it to do it for you. Yeah.
So
very cool.
So that is
very cool.
A really cool thing. And then I'll just go back and just kind of show you how to play. Okay, let's make a team effort here. And I'm going to go through, hopefully I can do this here. Create an illustration. A family of, okay, somebody give me a number. How big is this family?
7.
7. Somebody give me a year.
1902.
Somebody give me a location.
South Carolina. Or do you need it more smaller?
That's fine. Father is and someone give me an occupation.
Fireman.
Oh, that's a good one. Fireman. Fireman, she said.
All right, let's see what we get.
Oh, this is the drawing. Cool. So that's how they do it.
So the one thing about ChatGPT, it's the Blake Wobegon effect. Everybody is beautiful.
Everybody is beautiful, Mary.
And straight white teeth, luscious locks.
Oh, look at that!
There it is.
Yes, that is so cool.
So,
but I'm thinking, Mary, all the times that we need photos for like presentations and we've got to look and make sure they're not copyrighted, we can create them in ChatGPT and know that they're not copyrighted because we created it in ChatGPT.
Well, okay, now I'm going to throw this out there. If
but you would have to say that
if other people's books are in there, could other people's photographs be in there? This is obviously not a photograph, but drawings or depictions or.
I guess you probably could tell. You probably could tell.
I think the images are more made up. I don't think it's pulling directly from, but this may be a face it saw in a book.
Right.
And this might be a different face and maybe different hair and 2 other things. So I think it's making
that is really cool.
Collage,
He's very handsome.
Mary,
wow. That's
okay,
a nice
Mary,
family. I'd like to claim them from South Carolina.
You said 7
1, 2,
but they have
5,
more than
6,
7.
8.
Yeah, there's more than 7.
So, but I said a family of 7, so maybe they thought I meant 7 children.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It is more than 7. I don't even know what this word is. It is really bad with words in the illustrations. Most of them are misspelled. If you look at any of that Halloween stuff or it's really misspelled. So one of my friends wanted just give me a winter scene of a cozy scene of a woman reading, a blonde-haired woman reading in a cozy bedroom. And they're all, skinny, really pretty.
And no diversity.
So I play,
no diversity.
No diversity,
you said a family of 7 and they're white family, and that's,
that's the assumption that it goes to.
Yeah.
I was playing around with my friend's prompt to try to give it more average looking. Well, or not so attractive. Well, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So it's like, okay, well, it's not giving me that. Okay, make her a size 12, make her a size 14. Just trying to get it to and put 25 pounds on her, I think I said. Just to try to play. I ended up getting I won't go into the
That didn't really work. Is that what you're saying?
and she also had kind of this the original lady had like this off the shoulder thing. It's like, put more clothes on her, it's cold.
That's too funny.
Anyway, so it's fun to play with. You can have a good time with the illustrations.
I'm thinking be fun for presentations when you're looking for something but can't find anything that you don't know. You just can't find the right thing. This might be kind of, yeah.
You should watermark it in some way to indicate, and that's
indicate it was ChatGPT.
And that's one of the things that you will see on the Blaine's Genealogists and Artificial Intelligence Facebook group, a big discussion on how do we do this? Where do you put it? But that it is an important concept that we don't just use these illustrations, that we give credit somewhere for the illustrations, where they came from.
That you showed.
And for two reasons. So nobody has any mistaken impression. Oh, that's great grandpa. It says it, right there.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
yeah.
When I started seeing these kinds of things coming across Facebook, especially when people were doing family thing like this one, I thought, oh, in 100 years, people are going to come across this and they're going to think it's an actual picture of this family. That's kind of stuff that's like, I'm like, oh, or the genealogies that people are going to do through ChatGPT that, they're not as fastidious as you and I and the rest of us are about looking for any errors or whatever. And they just publish it out there. Well, in 100 years, when another genealogist gets a hold of it, they're like, oh, that's true. It's
just like we do now with some of the stuff.
It is.
I mean, it doesn't take ChatGPT to create a false genealogy.
But
well, I think
it's another thing to have to battle, I guess, in some ways. But I think I can see it as a good thing too.
Yeah. And as it grows and it learns from us as professional genealogists, I think that it'll become better and better, and writers and that type of thing, feeding it correct information. And I think it'll be a lot of fun to use. And I think it can be a time saver. I don't think it's going to put any of us out of a job.
No, I don't. I think it may leave us time to do more interesting things if we can get it to do some of the rote things.
Right, exactly. Well, when you think about it, the 1950 census was indexed using AI quickly.
That
type of thing we should be very grateful for, because look how long it took to do 1940. It took months of volunteer work. It only put the volunteers out of work for 1950, but people still had to go back and check and make sure everything was correct. And so there were still some things that needed to be tweaked, but there are a lot of applications, I think, for AI, for ChatGPT and helping us. We just need to be careful, and we need to learn how to use it. And I think that's where these classes and playing around with it and showing and explaining things to other people, why it's so important. We need to learn to embrace new technology and make it work for us to be better at what we're doing, faster, find more names, correct names, connect more families together by using this technology. Use it for our books. Bernice is going, my next book is going to the whole outline.
Well, the index is the worst part.
Oh, exactly. So lots of potential. I think lots and lots of potential. And Mary, thank you for showing us your
definitely
great examples and coming in and telling us about it. And I would like for our viewers, if you've used AI in any of your genealogy, we would like to know what you did, how you used it, if you had to go back and correct it. What did you see helpful? What did you see might be a problem for future genealogists? But I really do think it's one of these things that is going to get better as we use it, and as technology gets better, and the platforms get better, I think. So Mary, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's all we're hearing about.
Great job.
Thank you so much. I want some questions for Mary, and I want some examples for all of us to see what you've been doing. So thank you so much, and we will see you next time on GenFriends. Bye, everybody.
Bye.